This is video broadcast of Athena Academy of Geopolitics.
Hello there, my name is Govind Kulkarni. In this video, I am narrating about the founding fathers of classical geopolitics. The subject, geopolitics, was born in the Western world, so the pioneers of this subject matter are largely European and American literature creators. Geopolitics is an explanation of the impact of geography on politics. The subject matter of geopolitics encompasses every aspect of international politics, ranging from economics to political realism and military philosophy. Transportation, communication, and science and technology are the foundations of geopolitics. Geopolitics as a subject emerged through assorted literature of various political scientists, academicians, military generals, economists, and career diplomats. Very first source for geopolitics could be said as a definition of state as an organism, a breakthrough that came from the writings of the 19th century geographer and ethnographer Friedrich Ratzel. His academic thoughts were based on man-environment relationship. Ratzel is notable for first using the term Lebensraum, which into English translated means living space in the realm of international politics. Ratzel believed that a sea power, unlike land power, was self-sustaining and wealth-producing. Next major additions in the compilation of this subject, geopolitics, was done by Swedish political scientist, geographer, and national politician named Rudolf Gehlen. In fact, Gehlen actually coined the term geopolitics. In extension to the organic state theory, Gehlen asserted that subject matter of geopolitics was study of a state as a realm of territory. According to Gehlen, geography determines the problems and conditions within and without of a state. Without means foreign policy. Some of his predictions were brilliant. Gehlen in advance had imagined that in 20th century various empires would eventually force Central Europe to unify into a bloc under the protection of a powerful Germany. Now for many today, by far, the United States of America has taken the imagined place of Germany. We can observe it in the form of North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and United States of America only makes the net guarantees as the net security provider of the Central European and Western European region. Now let's have a look into the three basic fundamental theories of classical geopolitics based on geographical determinants, that is land power theory, sea power theory, air power theory. Air power theory actually is a geographical as well as technological determinant. An extension to these theories has to be added in the form of astropolitics. Astropolitics is emerging as a new subject as man's expansion into the outer space has already happened Here in Athena Academy of Geopolitics, I have designed a separate section on astropolitics. I only teach that. Back to our subject, founding fathers of geopolitics. Chronologically, I will have to put Alfred Thayer Mahan first in the discussion. Mahan was a United States of America's Navy officer, historian, and exponent of sea power. For him, national power was directly linked to the sea or to the marine activities. Maritimeness means overall commercial use of sea assets in peacetime and employment of navy to be in control during the events of war. Alfred Thayer Mahan put forward his sea power, put forward that sea power had the direct influence on shaping the world history, and looked at the then Russian Empire as a disadvantaged, landlocked state that could be easily blocked by an insular sea. Now, Alfred Thayer Mahan's writings belong to the last quarter of the 19th century. That's why we have to pronounce Russia as the then Russian Empire. So it was disadvantaged landlocked state for Mahan, Russia, the then Russian Empire. And he furthered his thoughts that this kind of disadvantaged landlocked Russian state or the Russian Empire could be easily blocked by an insular sea power state like the United Kingdom and eventually the United States of America. Now the traits of Alfred Thayer Mahan's writings could be observed in the happenings of the Cold War period. The containment policy, which was adopted by the United States of America against the then Soviet Russia, is nothing but a practical extension of Alfred Thayer Mahan's writings. Emphasizing on geostrategic commodities, Alfred Thayer Mahan was a proponent of a strong navy for his country, that is United States of America. A simultaneous cross to sea power theory came through writings of Halford J. Mackinder at the beginning of the 20th century. Mackinder was an English geographer, academic, and politician. Mackinder's seminal paper in 1904, which is titled as The Geographical Pivot of History, brought a major breakthrough in the world of strategic thinking. His concept of strategic heartland in Eurasia highlighted the strengths of a land power in the form of Soviet Russia. Now, both these writers, both these political scientists, that is Alfred Thayer Mahan and Mackinder, were actually formulating policies for their countries, that is United States of America and the United Kingdom. So it must not be forgotten. After these writings, what happened was that geopolitics became local, and all the nation states, especially after the First World War and Second World War, started looking at the geopolitical compulsions individually, nation state and its geopolitical compulsions, and individuality of geopolitics based on the local conditions emerged. In some senses, Mackinder is credited with actually first formulator of the subject matter of classical geopolitics and geostrategy also. Let me now throw some light on the air power theory. I will have to discuss both the tactical and strategic aspect of air power. The discussion on this point starts with legendary William Billy Michel, who is called as the father of the United States of America's Air Force. He was a Army General, Brigadier General, belonging to the United States of America's Army. Michel is called as, I said, father of the United States of America's Air Force. During the early years of air power, Michel tried to prove practically that the air power made the surface forces, both on land and on the sea, vulnerable to the air attacks. Michel expressed air power as the final arbiter of a nation's destiny in war and believed that air power became the core of power of defense and of initiative against an enemy. On tactical levels, William Billy Michel said, nothing can stop the attack of an aircraft but an equally potent or maybe comparatively superior aircraft. This brilliant exponent, Michel, of air power and of air superiority, looked at bombers as a replacement of battleships and insisted on a separate command for the air service. Alexander Seversky, a Russian-American aviation pioneer and an inventor also, advocated strategic air power instead of using Mercator projection of the world. He based his theory on the azimuthal equidistant projection around the North Pole, highlighting the Arctic Ocean as the shortest distance between Eurasia and United States of America or the American continent. Seversky's ideas of military victory were based on air superiority and air dominance. In furtherance to strategic victory, Seversky proposed enemies' industrial bases as the primary targets of aerial bombings. In Athena Academy of Geopolitics, I have designed and teach an intensive and full-fledged course on air power only. I teach to make static and flying models of fighter jet aircrafts also, and through this I try to educate about the air power to my students. Geopolitics ultimately is a strategic expression of political realism, the major source of geostrategic contemplation and practices in the literature of Karl von Clausewitz. He was a Prussian general and military theorist. Clausewitz is known for his intelligence as a modern and classical military philosopher. He defined war as continuation of politics by other means. In his most famous treatise on war, the book's name is On War, translated into English, Clausewitz emphasized on psychological and political aspects of war. The economic sense for geopolitics is provided through Geo-Economics. The term was coined by Dr. Edward Luttwak in 1990. He is a very well-known personality in the domain of military history, grand strategy and international relations. His strategic ideas, Dr. Edward Luttwak's strategic ideas have been translated into many languages. Dr. Edward Luttwak's seminal paper in 1990 titled as From Geopolitics to Geo-Economics, Logic of Conflict, Grammar of Commerce, has proved to be a masterpiece in the literature of geopolitics. In fact, Dr. Edward Luttwak's books and his literature translated into many languages across the globe in many military academies is actually are a compulsory reading. I admire his writings a lot. He wrote in his seminal paper that states are inherently inclined to strive for relative advantage against like entities on the international scene, even if only by means other than force. It takes a lot of time actually to understand the writings of Dr. Edward Luttwak. First of all, you have to be very well versed in the literature ranging from mercantilism to Adam Smith's writing to the emergence of microeconomics, macroeconomics, public spending, and the subjects. Now we call it as economics. Economics also, as a subject, emerged very lately. So these foundations and the behavior of the corporate world, these foundations are primary conditions to understand Dr. Edward Luttwak's literature. But without Dr. Edward Luttwak's literature and the concepts forwarded by him in the form of geo-economics only, can turn a person into a full-fledged strategist in this era, especially after the end of the Cold War. So geo-economics actually is the geo-economics actually provides the foundation, economic foundations to the understanding of geopolitics. That's it from me now. As a short talk on this topic, that is the founding fathers of classical geopolitics and modern geopolitics. Thank you again for logging on. I will keep posting. Bye for now.
This is video broadcast of Athena Academy of Geopolitics.